Well. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben.
And how are you this fine October afternoon?
I'm much better this afternoon than I was this morning.
Ah,
Much better.
That's good. That's good. That's what I like to hear. How have you been today then? Let's talk about this morning, and not just this morning, but the ordeal you've been through over the past week or so.
Well, if anyone's been following us, they would know that I have a van because I was known as the man in the van.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So I had a van.
Yeah.
And MOT time came for the van.
Yeah.
And I went to a MOT station and they turned me away and said, "Your van is too big. It's too grand. We cannot do that van."
No, they did. They turned him away several times, and
Three fucking MOT stations, including one that specialises in HGVs.
I mean, one of them, more than one of them, you gave them the full dimensions of the vehicle, didn't you?
Yes, and I turned up and the guy goes, "Oh, no, that's too long for our ramp.
That's too long for our ramp.
Too long for our ramp." And then I had one arranged today with people who were using a pit instead of a ramp because it's rated for 5.5 ton, and most of these fly-by-nighters that do vans have only got 4.5 ton ramps. So I thought I'll get up early and go along at 8:30. So I got up, got out the van, blah blah blah, and then the door would not shut.
You've had a day of it, haven't you, John?
It's just the door would not firkin shut.
Right.
It opened fine, and then it would not lock closed. No, I can't drive the van with the door flapping, and it's going to fail an MOT with the door flapping about.
Is it going to fail the MOT?
Well, not now. Well, yeah. Well, it would if it. I think actually, fortuitously, things have changed because what I did was I cancelled the appointment. Said I'll have to reschedule. But I managed to fix the door eventually.
Yeah.
And then I took it along to a friend of a friend, who's a proper HGV mechanic.
Oh.
And he's got a big yard full of buses.
Oh wow.
And he's going to give it a pre-MOT inspection. He's going to tell me what it needs, and he's going to fix it for me for suitable remuneration. And then we'll go for an MOT.
That's absolutely wonderful, I guess. I mean, it's going to be expensive, but...
Well, we'll find out. I might have to be on here begging, and like Ben does.
With that, John, introduce the show.
And with that, I'd like to welcome one and all to this episode 143 of Chasing Dissent Live.
Well, that was a bit weird. It is spooky. Spooky. We watched Halloween Ends, and then we did a live review of the movie over on our second channel, 100, that's the number 100 Acre Swamp over on YouTube. If you're not subscribed over there, you really, really should be. Well, why are you not? It's a very, very good, poignant, and interesting question. Oh, for God's sake, you didn't bring your sound up again. There we go. We need a new streaming software. But let's just get past that straight away because everything's sorted now. John.
Ben.
What's been happening in the news today?
Your friend EZRA has made the news today because he's been charged with that felony burglary.
Yes, he has.
And he could, the papers are obviously putting as much egg as they possibly can on it. He could face up to 26 years in jail. And technically he could, but he's unlikely to be done for 26 years. Having said that, though, EZRA is no stranger to trouble. It's not his first rodeo.
No, you're absolutely right. And he is maybe some of the stuff about him is over-egged, is hyperbolic, is, you know, over the top. People saying he's running a cult, people saying he's, you know,
I think
kidnapping
you said he was running a cult.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it, but you can never confirm these things, can you?
It certainly had all the impressions of being a cult.
Yeah, but now he's finally, was it for stealing some booze?
Yeah, from a neighbour's house.
Yeah.
Because the offie was shut, I think.
Well, he's pled not guilty, so let's see how that does for him.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers appear to have forgiven him completely because he was on set at the beginning of this month filming reshoots for The Flash, so they've got him back in, and obviously they're sticking by him as their Flash. I'm assuming he's done he's about to do his rehab or his apology tour or something like that, because I imagine those are the conditions of him, you know, still being in their movie. But I do think that they're probably going to chuck a load of money at this and help him out. Will he get any time in prison? I don't think so. I don't think he will. Either that, or they will make a massive example of him, and yes, he will get loads of time in prison. Which one do you think it's going to be?
I don't know, Ben. I don't know. I think he'll maybe get. I think they'll maybe make a bit of an example of him and give him a little bit of time in prison.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, who was it? It was Iron Man, wasn't it? He spent some time in prison, didn't he?
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. has.
Didn't do any, and it didn't do him any harm.
Well, it did. It did him some short-term harm, but never really any long-term harm. Speaking of people doing harm to their careers, what's John Bowe up to?
I mean, when this all started, I initially thought John Bowe was quite astute and quite switched on, because he seemed to be going down the right path, and he seemed to be exposing things that, like, you and I would expose, like other people would expose. You know, he was following the data and all that, and he's maybe still doing that to a degree. And I really, to be fair, I'm nothing against the guy, apart from the fact he won't come on the show, and that he may be running an illegal charity. But apart from that, let's not split hairs.
I was going to say, let's not split hairs.
Yeah, but apart from that, I mean, John, if you're listening, come on the show and explain the whole charity situation, because as far as we can make out, it's not legal to be doing what you're doing, but I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, you know. But apart from that, what he seems to be doing is he seems to be stuck on the one trick pony. He's stuck on the coof,
yeah,
and the cure, you know, and it's like, we can't afford to let this consume ourselves, because if we do let this consume ourselves, we are going, you know, everybody's going to turn out like the people that are still doing it just now, that are still walking about in masks and in fear of their lives and sanitize and everything. And these are the people that you need to mock, because if you don't, they'll keep on doing it, because they need help. They need help to come out of this quagmire that they've ensconced themselves in, and you've got to help them. You've got to show them the path to living with it like a normal person would, we used to.
See, I had this conversation with John last night, and it got to a point where late last year I was consumed, right? I was consumed by absolutely nothing else.
Et toi?
And so were you, and so were so many of us, and we were just absolutely, we were a one-trick pony.
And we were in a one-trick pony echo room.
Yes, we were, and I was getting really, really frustrated that nobody would listen, right? And I got to the point where, and I've said this before on the show a load of times, I figured that entertaining people and maybe giving them a better perspective is better than shouting at them and shouting down in their face. But also, I want to give credit to my friend Lisa here. John, you won't know this, but she contacted me at the end of last year, and you know, essentially, she's one of the only people who stuck by me since before this. And she told me, you're going off the rails, you need to snap out of this, you need to calm down, you need to back off a bit. And you know, that might sound disappointing to some people, because some people really did appreciate some of the stuff I was saying and some of the stuff I was doing. And do I still believe what I believed? Absolutely. But if we allow this to consume ourselves, this one thing to just consume us, and we're going out on a protest for it this week, we're doing it this for that, this day, we will have nothing left, and we will become no better than the people that John says needs help. So we can't let this consume us, and this is why we rarely talk about it anymore, because
and apart from that, it's just not fun anymore, is it?
Well, no, and you know what? Real life exists, and this is why we're doing stuff on the other channel. This is why we're doing stuff on the other channel. Like, for example, tonight, you can come along to 100 Acre Swamp if you'd like, watch me play a point-and-click strategy game, because I'm going to be sitting live on that channel and on the Twitch channel just playing a game. Because I want to live my life again. Yes, I want to do this. I love this. I want to grow this. Chasing Dissent is everything to both of us. We've put our blood, sweat, and tears into building this over the last nearly 2 years now, John. But
we need you. We need you to help us, because we can't do it alone. I mean, we're working our socks off here for nothing. You know, we're not really getting any kind of remuneration. We need to make this successful. We want this to be successful, and we want to keep providing this to more and more people, because I think these are a scream. I love doing them, and even when I'm watching them back and clipping things out to make shots and things, I find myself laughing at them. So they're either very funny, or I'm just a complete narcissist.
No, I think they're very funny. I think you know.
But yeah, we need you. We need you to go out and evangelise for us. We need those likes. We need those shares.
Yeah, we do. So if you've not liked it yet on YouTube, click that button. Let's move on to Peter Hitchens.
Let's move on to Peter Hitchens. So, you know about Keir, don't you?
What, about Keith?
About Keith, yeah, and he's passed.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit of an activist, wasn't he? He was almost a communist, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Peter's just kind of exposing them, because at the moment, Keith looks like Mr. I mean, he was always a fence sitter recently, but he never used to be. He was a bit of a lad.
Yeah, a bit of a lad. He, you know, I don't understand why not just him, but so many of these politicians are ashamed of their past and try and hide their past. They are on show for all to see, and just own it. Just like Liz Truss, right? Just like Lizzie and her comments about the royal family.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. If you've made those statements, then stand by them. You made those statements. You made those statements years ago in a different time, and people are allowed to change, you know. But you know, you turn around and you just say to people, "Yeah, I made that statement. That's what I thought at the time. That's how I felt at the time. I don't necessarily feel like that now, or I do. Whether I do or don't believe in the royal family has got nothing to do with the fact that I'm perfectly capable of running the country."
Well, absolutely. And I mean, let's face it, Liz Truss is not absolutely capable of running the country.
I'm just giving you an example of what I would say.
But I think our next slide here is going to be quite illuminating. John, we are moving on to Sam Coates from Sky.
Yes, so Sam Coates has said this was sent to Tory MPs from number 10 stroke 11 to Tory MPs a few moments ago. A message from the Prime Minister and the Chancellor.
Ooh.
Do you want to read it out, Ben, or shall I?
Okay, it says, does not signal contrition, suggests PM and Chancellor here for long-term reforms, praises the energy price cap policy without noting it's been rewritten, and blames global factors.
That's actually quite a good summation. Rather than read out the whole thing, basically, yeah, they support each other. They're going to hang around as long as they can. They think the energy price cap's a good thing, and they're blaming Putin.
So let me give you some illumination on this. The energy price cap, which was supposed to be solid for 2 years, now until April.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to start putting your prices up again.
Well, to be fair, he didn't say they would put the prices up in April. What he said was they would revisit it.
Okay, but it's not got the 2-year freeze on it that was promised. So
no, it's not.
Another backtrack, another U-turn. And what's very clear to me in all of this is what they're actually saying in this letter is Jeremy's in charge now, boys.
Yeah.
That's what we can garner from all of this. Jeremy Hunt appears to be in charge. He's now running the country. Liz Truss is just a Joe Biden. She's just a puppet. She's just a face. She's just somebody that's going to read a script, because everything that she quote unquote believed in has been wiped out. She's not even been prime minister for 2 sodding months, and
it feels like 2 weeks.
It does, and it's all been wiped out. All of it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous.
I'll tell you what else has been wiped out.
What, mate? What?
Everybody's 401k.
Oh, hasn't it just? So a 401k is basically a pension fund for Americans, and they reckon that on average they've lost $34,000 off of the value of that pension fund.
Yeah, people are looking at their 401ks and just crying today.
So that's on average 25% of your pension gone.
And still Biden turns around and he tells people, oh, this is some of the cheapest fuel that they've ever had in California. What? California's petrol has always been $7 a gallon. This man is nuts. He's absolutely fucking nuts.
He's a screwball. And staying in New York, this one slipped in from the other channel, I think. But the other channel doesn't really have a news show like this. So this guy's going on about House of the Dragon and the dark lighting. Well, hold on a minute. It's dark! What's wrong with filming the dark in the dark? See, people are so stupid these days. They think they've got to see everything, but if it's dark, it's dark. And, this isn't the first series that's been dark. When it comes to lighting, some of The Hobbit was really dark as well, and some of the Lord of the Rings was dark.
Let me just get this straight. This is John Oliver, by the way, right?
Yeah, obviously you can't see anyway, judging by the size of those specs.
John Oliver's he's English, and he does a show called like Last Week Tonight or something. He mocks the news, same as we do.
Yeah.
Right? Except for he's not funny.
Yeah.
He says all this crap. He's like, oh look, House of the Dragon is dark. John, this is a show that's set in times before electricity, right? The only light that they had, John, was candlelight.
This is set in the Just Stop Oil universe.
Yeah, it is. It's set in the Just Stop Oil universe.
Coming to you this winter.
Yeah, but it's what does he want? Does he want high-powered fucking lasers or something?
Fuck knows. The guy's a twat.
I mean, John, of course it's dark. They had candles, John. Candles.
I think I've watched every episode so far, and I've never found a problem with viewing what's going on.
No, me either.
I mean, the dark stuff's dark, but you can see what's happening.
I'm really enjoying it.
I think maybe he needs to look at his tech.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not got it set up right.
I think he needs to have another eye check.
Yeah, should have gone to Specsavers.
And you know what? Also, for dark, CGI is always better in the dark. Let's face it.
Speaking of CGI, anyway, I'm not saying this is CGI, but the defense of Ukraine are back at it again.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I mean, 2 rogue states, Russia and Iran, have joined forces to improve the tactics of the Shahed drone terror. Hold on a minute. When Ukraine were bombing the hell out of the Russian front lines with those Turkish drones, they didn't go on like that. They weren't drone terrors then, were they? Seems like defense of Ukraine's very one-sided.
Seems like defense of Ukraine is. I'm just going to say it. That Twitter account is so full of shit.
It really is
just so full of shit, and I've had enough of it, because let's face it, these social media companies, they talk about misinformation all the time, and how misinformation is bad, and you will be banned, you will be unpersoned if you deliver misinformation. This is one of the biggest deliverers of misinformation on the sodding internet.
These are the people that brought you the Ghost of Kiev, and the footage from Call of Duty, from Arma 3.
Tank Wars.
Tank Wars. These are the people that brought you that.
Yeah, these are
see that photograph that's there on that. Have you still got the slide up?
Yeah.
What's the guy with his foot in the arm code doing? What's that meant to signify? How's that drone terror? I just don't get that one.
Is it meant to be the smoke behind him, perhaps? Oh,
Well, that could just be fog. I mean, that could be anything.
the fog of war.
I mean, the cars are driving along with the lights on, so it looks like it's been foggy.
Yeah, it could well have been. It could well have been. And speaking of foggy,
Yeah.
cancer vaccines could be available by 2030, says scientists behind the coof shop.
Well, I think the top line on this tweet is probably got it all covered.
Could.
Problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Follow the money.
Well, my question is this: how can you vaccinate against something that's not a transmissible disease?
I'm not a virologist, so I can't comment.
That is a question.
That's a good question now.
Cancer develops within one's own body. It's one's own cells attacking oneself, essentially, right?
Well, it's not so much attacking oneself, is it? It's out of control growth.
Yeah, but we phrase it as attacking.
Yeah, but that's not accurate.
No, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But like I said, how can you vaccinate against something that you can't catch?
I don't know. I think they're playing fast and loose with the word vaccine here.
Now, if they come out with a cure that stops cancer in its tracks, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. And you know what? Actually, as somebody who has watched more than one member of his own family deteriorate and lose their life to cancer, my grandfather passed away from cancer at about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning on the day I got married.
That's not nice.
No, it's not. And the man, I think of the man as my father. And my family, they didn't tell me. They let the wedding go ahead, and they all knew. But it was, I have watched this evil illness take the lives of people that I really care about and I really love, and I don't understand this. I don't. You can't vaccinate against it. You can't.
Right, so the whole thing's very problematic, right? Because this is a disease that you're not allowed to claim that you can treat or cure.
Well, yeah, it's a bit
But that's against the law. Now, why is that against the law? I mean, okay, you want to stop snake oil salesmen, fair enough, but people actually have been put in jail for claiming they had cures for cancer. So the whole thing's just very problematic to me. There's something wrong, and cancer rates are sky high now compared to how they used to be.
Yeah, but I'll tell you exactly why that is, because there's two reasons cancer rates are absolutely sky high now. First one is this: it's because simply we have more people on the planet and they are living more and more unhealthy lifestyles.
Well, not more people, because we're taking the cancer rates as percentages of the population, so it doesn't matter how many people there are.
Okay, but the second reason is because we just spent 2.5 years with cancer services essentially closed off to everybody.
Well, there is that. I can also tell you what else
has
a very strong correlation between rising cancer rates and the production of high fructose corn syrup.
Ooh, you know what? We don't really use that in this country.
Yes, you do.
We don't.
Yes, think you don't. You think you don't, but yes, you do. It's called a variety of different things.
Yeah,
but it's in almost every processed food.
Okay.
Almost everyone.
But what I'm saying is, like in the United States, for example, when you buy a Coca-Cola, the sugar that's used in that is a high fructose corn syrup. Here, it's just sugar, right?
Yeah, okay. But if you look at all your processed foods, it's completely different. So.
I try my darndest not to eat processed food. Sometimes I don't get away with it, but I try. I've got a chicken in the fridge, and I plan to just cook the chicken and make something out of that.
Yeah.
I make my own potato products usually. I peel my potatoes, roast them, mash them, chip them, whatever. But you're right. You even buy like frozen chips, and there's a myriad of ingredients in them, and you're like.
And the other thing that we use now that we never used to use is vegetable oils, seed oils. We used to cook things in butter and lard. and that was much, much better than using seed oils, which
Guess
are
who
really high
still
in
cooks things in butter and lard? Hmm?
So anyway, moving on.
Moving on, we can move over to the to a university in the United States. What have they done?
Well, they're still working on gain of. Why did they do gain of function research?
I don't know.
On diseases that aren't really that effective at killing us.
I don't know.
So they do gain of function research on these diseases to make them more virulent and better at killing us. Why? Because
I don't know.
As far as I can make out, the only reason to do that would be to weaponize it.
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And do you know what? I get so perturbed by incorrect phraseology and grammar and things like that. So they say scientists develop new COVID strain that would kill 80% of people. Don't they mean a new strain of SARS-CoV-2?
Well, they do, but I mean, but why? Why are they doing this? Why would you want? I mean, there is no reason for people to be doing this. And look at them; they're having a great time while they're doing it.
So, from what I understand, what they did was they took the spike protein from Omicron and placed it upon the nucleus of Alpha. Right?
Why?
I don't know.
What makes them think this is a good idea? I do not understand what's going through these people's heads.
I don't know
why they're allowed to do this.
I don't know. And
I mean, are they like supervillains?
You can imagine.
Is that what this is about?
You can imagine these three with some massive high back chairs, and they're all sitting there with their cats going.
Let me stroke my pussy. Yes. Anyway, so the New York Post starts again, doesn't it? Now, actually, I was scrabbling to make the list this morning, so I haven't got the full backstory on this, but I just had to put it in because it was just so funny. A too real Halloween decoration prompted a police investigation.
Oh, that's fantastic! It is fantastic. That's what I like to see. It's what I like to see.
Give us a second to pull this up.
You're gonna get the story.
I want to get the story.
He's gonna deep dive it for us. We're gonna have a good laugh at this one, I think.
Come on,
New York Post. You can do it.
Oh, where is it?
Where is it?
I've lost it.
Oh, Jesus Christ! He's lost it.
Don't tell me they've pulled it.
Well, the headline itself is still a mildly amusing.
Hold on.
Real Halloween decoration prompts police investigation. It would have been yesterday, John.
Yeah.
Because by the time you posted this already said it had been posted 12 hours ago.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, you're always behind when it's a New York Post.
Yeah, you are.
Give me a second.
I'll give you a second, and whilst I do that, I will remind people that if they are able to support us, they can do so at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent or kofi.com/Chasing Dissent. That's ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. We are dropping Subscribe Star because ultimately the platform's shite. So we're dropping that. But if you can support us and you would like to support us, then please consider doing so on one of those two platforms. We would really appreciate help in keeping on the lights. That would be very appreciative. I had my electricity bill through this month, John, £250.
Yeah, that's...
I can't afford it. I can't afford it.
That's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
No, I don't know what's happened. I think they maybe pulled it.
Shall we move on to the next story then, John?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's move on to the next story.
We're going back to the defense of Ukraine.
It's like they make things. It's like they make things up, and then it looks like they're taking a photograph of a bus trip. Doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Look, they're on a nice coach trip. They've stopped in a field. They're having a group photo. Defense of Ukraine here says 108 Ukrainian women were released from captivity. Among them are service members of the Ukrainian army, other places, state special service of transport, civilian hostages, volunteers who, after months of abuse by the Russists,
Yeah,
They're calling them the Russists?
they appear to be calling them Russists these days, yeah.
The
Right, so
Russists.
what's going on here? So these people are allegedly being abused for months by the Russists. And then they just stop and have an impromptu photo shoot in a field. These people are nuts. And yet we're expected to believe this. Look at them now, they're all smiling away. You know?
Well,
So-
they're free now, John.
Yeah, the whole thing's absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Yes, the Russists.
Speaking of Russists, what about the Chinese?
President Xi has said China will not rush its energy transition, with energy security being the main priority. If the world's polluter isn't rushing to cut emissions, we shouldn't be rushing to net zero. You know what? That's one of the that's from Bloomberg, and that's one of the most sensible things I have ever seen Bloomberg write.
Yeah, I would agree, because a rush to net zero is a rush to the bottom. It's just a race to the bottom.
It's just a race to poverty. It is a race to poverty. People don't seem to understand this, right? These friggin' idiots that are sitting on bridges like Just Stop Oil.
Oh, God.
They have no idea what they are talking about. Not one iota, not one clue. They look at a doomsday model, which is always wrong, by the way. Every last one of them over the last 5 decades and beyond. Wrong. It's the boy who cried sodding wolf. And now look what they're doing. And now look what they're doing. Are they in this list?
Who? Just Stop Oil?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Have we got some
Can't
pictures?
remember.
Well, I don't. They're just idiots.
Well, they're
sort
on
of.
the cover.
They're on the
cover. Thumbnail.
So, for those who don't know what these idiots are doing, they're up on Dartford Bridge right now, the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge. They've hung themselves in hammocks from the cables, and they've hung a massive Just Stop Oil banner over it, shutting down that artery of the M25 because they won't let people drive over it.
Why did they stop the traffic?
Because what if they fall down? What
if they fall down? They're going to be dead anyway.
Yeah. Do you know what? Last night, I've seen some video footage last night from people that were down at the side of the QE2 bridge launching fireworks at them. And whilst on Chasing Dissent, we cannot condone that sort of behaviour or encourage it. It was really, really funny.
Yeah, it was
really funny.
I normally don't like fireworks, but I'll let them off on this occasion.
No, though Soram says I saw some vids that alleged to show fireworks being fired at the bridge. Not sure if they were real. They're real. It's real. And we've got people like suggesting on Twitter now. I've been seeing they're suggesting they start a crowdfund to buy more fireworks.
Why not? Why not, indeed?
Do you know what? I think we should start a crowdfund to turn on our electric, because I'm going to have to turn it off soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you know, fireworks are always good. I like fireworks. Everybody likes fireworks, I guess. Let's move on to Zelensky, shall we?
He's still at it. He's still on the green screen. I mean, that's. I urge you to go to Twitter or wherever you find your Zelensky videos and watch this, because it's like it's hilarious, as it says. It is honestly hilarious. You can see the outlines of the green. You can see that it is quite plainly green screen. It's so bad.
He does it all the time.
He does it all the time. He's not where he purports to be. He's just an actor, and not a very good one at that.
A comedy actor.
Yeah, and not a very good one at that.
That is everything you need to know. So let's move on to Bell, shall we?
Yes. So I was impressed with Bell's thread here. So I would urge you to go and have a look at this as well. This young lady has made this thread way back and this was originally way back in November the 3rd, 2021.
Yep.
And it's a good thread because it does show that there was something very wrong going on at the time. And I don't think it's gone away that quickly, and it shows you all the different things that cause elevated risk of heart attacks. For instance, like making the bed.
Oh yeah, making the bed.
Breakfast.
Waking up was one of them, I believe, at one point.
Yep. What was the other one? Breakfast was definitely one. Was it oatmeal or something? Porridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Yeah. There was a stack of things.
Going to sleep was also.
Yes, going to sleep.
Yep.
Having alcohol and not having alcohol at the same time.
Playing football.
Yeah, I mean it was just incredible, absolutely incredible. So I think it was a good thread, and it's well worth revisiting.
Shall we move on?
Speaking of revisiting, this is not Jeremy Hunt.
No, it's Pat Sharp.
It is. Well, it's Pat Sharp's photograph with Jeremy Hunt's face superimposed on it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So someone's been trying to pretend that Jeremy Hunt used to dress like that, and whether he did or not, what's the point?
No, yeah.
What's the point?
I don't understand. But see, I don't understand why this was made, because this is Pat Sharp. This is Jeremy Hunt's face superimposed over Pat Sharp, and you know what? Pat Sharp is a fucking boss. Who remembers Funhouse? I remember Funhouse, right?
That was a mullet.
But still, Pat Sharp, or he still DJs.
Yeah. Well, that was his job. Why would he change his job?
But he used to do Funhouse on TV, and that show, every kid in the 90s wanted to be on that sodding show, right? Every kid. I don't know if your son was probably around that time.
No, he wasn't born till 96.
Oh, okay, so Funhouse was probably finished at that point.
Yeah,
but still, every kid wanted to be on that show. Every 90s kid knows who Pat Sharp is, for God's sake. Should we move on?
Yeah, so there's your Just Stop Oil picture.
Oh, they are there. Look, there they are. These freaking morons. I'm just gonna. Unfortunately, we can't zoom in on this, but virtually everything that they've got there had oil used in its production.
Yeah.
Their hammocks, their banner, the paint used, the ropes. But the
clothing.
They don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand what they're talking about.
I think it's like, and the thing is, these people quite often team up with the vegans, don't they? And the plant-based food people.
Yeah.
So what they don't seem to understand is if the Just Stop Oil people got their way, we would effectively be rolled back to the Stone Age.
Yep.
Right? So we would no longer be farmers. We'd be hunter-gatherers, and we'd be almost exclusively eating animals.
Yeah.
So because there would be no diesel to work in the fields and things like that, and there wouldn't be enough, there wouldn't be enough farmland to keep us going using traditional farming methods, which would mean that people would starve. There would be massive die-offs. And also, ultimately, civilization would end as we know it.
I would like to point out a major point of hypocrisy here for this particular group of Just Stop Oil protesters. I forget what the main guy's name is, like Marcus or something, right? That's up there on the. They call him a civil engineer from London. That's what they call him. He's actually from New Zealand.
Yeah, is he now?
So
that's strange that there's quite a few people come from New Zealand.
But my question is, how did he get here?
By plane. He almost certainly didn't get here by any other method.
So this...
And if he came by boat, that'd be even worse.
So this utter loser, hanging off a bridge in a hammock, probably pissing and shitting in his own pants.
Yeah.
He flew here on a plane from almost as far away as you can get. So probably more than one plane, several planes. He's probably got a nice diesel car, I imagine.
Yep.
He's living in the city. He's obviously using public transport if he doesn't have a big diesel car. He's using all of these oil-based products to get around. He can use these things, but you can't.
So how's he getting water?
That's a very good... I think they took a load up with them.
Yeah, but that won't last forever.
No, it won't last forever. Do you know what? My advice to... I believe this all falls under the jurisdiction of Essex Police, right? So I'm going to address you directly, Essex Police. Here's what you should do. Open the road and ignore them.
Yeah
leave them up there. Just leave them hanging. Because do you know what? When they get too hungry or they're sick of lying in their own filth, they'll come down. And when they do come down, slap the cuffs on them.
Lock them up.
Lock them up, because all they're going to do if you don't is go and do something like this again. But we need to make an example of them. What we need to do is we need to ignore them until they get in a huff, They stop their stupid little protest and they come down. They're doing something every single day at the moment. They were sat in the road in the middle of London again today. And do you know what really pisses me off about that? The police just fucking stand there. And I know we're not supposed to really swear on this show, but the police just stand there. They bottle feed them water. They do nothing to remove these people. Anti-lockdown protests, the batons come out, the shields come out, and they beat them senseless. I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's so clear to me at this point that there is some kind of establishment funding for these groups. It's got to be.
I've always said that you only need to look as far as the security services to see it. They'll be in there. You know, they'll have infiltrated them anyway, and they'll be pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, I see in the chat people requesting more fireworks be shot their way. Once again, we at Chasing Dissent cannot condone such behaviour, but we will watch it. We will watch it, and we will laugh. Shall we move on to something else to laugh about here?
Yeah. That's fat clown Corden, right?
I mean, let's preface this with saying we are quite portly fellows ourselves.
Yeah, so we're entitled to call other people fat because we're fat.
Mm.
So he what's happened to my slide? All right, sorry. Right, so this clown Corden got banned from a restaurant in New York City for treating the staff poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's since apologised and been reinstated. I would have not bothered reinstating him because, let's face it, he could stand to lose a few pounds. Maybe he shouldn't be eating in the restaurants that often, and he certainly shouldn't be mistreating people who are serving him his food, should he?
Is this the type of restaurant that me and you could probably never afford to eat at as well?
Probably, but even so, you know, why? I mean, it's just another sign of entitlement, isn't it? Another method of how the liberal entitled lord it over everyone.
But you know what? It's got to a point where, because they're so held up so high, they're put on pedestals. They believe their own hype. Excuse me, there. They believe their own hype, and at that point, they do this. Sauron says in the chat, he's just some prima donna, worthless actor with a massive narcissistic streak. Yes, he is. You're absolutely right. He believes his own hype. Now, I saw a funny tweet from Ryanair earlier, actually. Ryanair tweeted out a picture of him with a circle and a cross around his face saying, James Corden is banned from Ryanair.
Good for him.
It was quite funny. I'm guessing that this is a meme at this point now. Because
probably.
Yeah, well.
I mean, why would James Corden even think about flying Ryanair? I mean, if I can avoid it, I'm not flying Ryanair.
Adam says free courses for $24.95 at Balthazar.
Well, that's all right.
That's not bad at all.
Maybe it wasn't that. Well, maybe it was. Anyway, Beats Crates says he wants to crowdfund them. He wants to be crowdfunded for the Christmas something tossing party. Was it Dwarf?
Maybe.
But it's blanked out.
Shall we move on to what we've got on screen here?
Right. So this is NAFO, right?
Right.
A bunch of self-absorbed, narcissistic idiots, in my view, that seem to think they can influence and win wars by memes. I
mean, Donald Trump did get elected president because of memes.
Yeah, well, so this is the same as these Anon clowns, right? And the green frog, the Peppy thing, and all that. These people are exactly of the same ilk, except they are trying to say that they're North Atlantic Fellows Organization.
Okay, so what are they doing? So take us through this tweet, Fred.
Well, they're just being complete and utter assholes. I mean, NAFO is a complete decentralized organic movement. No, it's a bunch of basement dwelling trolls making memes. That's all it is. It accepts people of all races, religions, orientations, and gender identities. Only because you're a bunch of basement dwelling trolls. There have been examples of fellows I've found with problematic beliefs or statements. I usually just block and mute them because you are a bunch of basement dwelling trolls.
Yeah.
Recently, a nutcase working for the anti-Semitic pro-fascist Grey Zone dug up some old poster for prominent NAFO OG, sometimes questionably called founder. That's because you're a bunch of basement-dwelling trolls.
Our Adam seems to think that they are CIA, and Kim.com will tell you they are government funded.
Oh, there's probably no doubt about it, but they are still a bunch of basement-dwelling trolls.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the 77 but a bunch of basement-dwelling reservist trolls?
Yeah. Hello, 77th Brigade. I know you've been watching us for quite some time. We do enjoy tussling with you on Twitter sometimes, but you are irrelevant. You are. You are irrelevant.
And speaking of fascists.
Oh. Now I've been looking forward to this one because I can't get my head around this, John.
Well, I don't understand how this even works. Right? So Jeremy Hunt's wife presents a show on China's state-run TV. China's state-run TV that whitewashes the Communist Party's human rights abuse.
China is asshole.
Yeah, because he's a Xi Jinping loving communist Chinese sympathizer, and right now he's in charge of the sodding country. This is the man who called for children to be removed from their parents by force and placed into quarantine facilities like they do in China. This man is in charge of our country now.
Yeah, he is. So why would anyone allow this? Why is this guy? I mean, why is this guy eligible to run for being an MP? As people investigated his background to make sure he's not a double agent for the CCP.
I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would be voting against Jeremy here.
Yeah, I think he's a very, very dubious character, his wife is certainly an agent of the CCP.
He's far too. Yeah, of course she is. Of course she is. She works on China's state-run TV, and does that mean that during the restrictions and all of that, she was traveling back and forth between?
I don't know, but so I meant to actually check and see if she was on Twitter. Does she have a rider that says Chinese state affiliated media?
Perhaps. I'm honestly not sure, but this
is
just
like George Galloway has his Russian one,
even though he's not.
I know.
That's so hilarious because George Galloway doesn't work for RT anymore.
I know. He hasn't for some time. It was absolutely crazy. So moving on.
Yeah, I'm showing people this bus crash at the moment.
Yeah, guy nearly got a bus through his house, didn't he?
Yeah.
So medical episode. Nothing to see here.
Nothing, as Mark Stein says. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to say here. But both not in service anymore. The bus or the driver.
Yeah, well, that's obviously quite clear. So, bus driver dies after suffering medical episode at the wheel. This sort of thing is happening more and more often, and not just the bus drivers.
Yeah, it happens quite a lot.
We saw it in France the other night. A rapper was on stage performing.
There was a
heart attack, dead.
Yep, there was a New York police vehicle crashed into pedestrians.
Did he have a bacon sandwich that morning?
I don't know, but he had the blue lights on and was responding to a call. He pulled out onto the wrong side of the road to overtake traffic. And you see the car in front swerve out in front of the car in front that he's about to overtake, goes to make a left turn, which is equivalent of us doing a right turn. So it comes across the front of the police vehicle, and the police vehicle makes this a really abrupt turn, which to my eye looked more like a vehicle's lane collision avoidance software rather than anything else. So I don't know if that car has collision avoidance software, because after that, all that happened was the police vehicle made this abrupt turn and then ploughed straight into the people on the corner, right? It didn't make any other turn. It didn't slow down. It did nothing else after that turn. It just turned and went straight into the corner. And then no one came out of the police vehicle. I mean, the police vehicle wasn't that badly damaged, right? Obviously, the people that hit may have been. Yeah, but no one came out of the police vehicle. So the question is, did the guy driving the police vehicle, did he just blank out or something?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you, but this
It
is
just happens so much.
it's happening more and more and more. And like Mark Stone says, as I say, nothing to see here. And speaking of fake news, we're going back to the defense of Ukraine, aren't we?
Yeah. So apparently this 12-year-old boy, right? and and this one as well, they need to stop using Fiverr for their photoshopping, because this is appalling.
It's terrible.
It's appalling. That guy is not there.
I mean, mine for our thumbnail on this show is way better than that.
Yeah.
Defense of Ukraine. I'll give you some hints. Pixlr is free. It's free.
They're just these people. I mean, misinformation city. These people really need to be sorted out. This Defense of Ukraine account is just appalling.
We're gonna end up on their fucking kill list, aren't we?
Yeah, but well, apparently Elon's back off it. He was on it, then off it.
Yeah, because he's funding Starlink. So
yeah, well, it's like James Corden. 1 minute you're banned, the next minute you're back in. It's okay, fatty. You can keep eating.
Shall we move on then to Rebecca Vincent?
Speaking of kill lists, so RSF International have tracked killings of 45 journalists and 4 media workers around the world, and we're only in October. That's this year. That's not to mention arbitrary detentions, which are rising year by year, and I think you can imagine which country those are occurring in.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, a staggering 524 journalists are unjustly jailed. And some of them are quite famous, like Julian Assange, who's in the UK.
Yeah, he's in Belmarsh Prison, Julian Assange, and I'm a huge advocate for freeing Assange. I think Assange should be freed. And that is a rally that I would probably get up and go to, a Free Assange rally. I am appalled by his treatment. I am appalled by the behaviour of the British government. I'm even appalled by the behaviour of the Ecuadorian government, because they may have held him and kept him safe for several years, but they eventually did turn around to him and kick him out.
Indeed.
Yeah. ThoughtStream UK has asked, what software is free? Pixlr. Yeah, it's spelled Pixlr, pixlr.com. It's a really good little tool. It's free. And to your other comment, yes, I will do it after the show. But yes.
Matteo Bassetti, head of the infectious diseases in Genoa, and who pushed for
tyranny
restrictions, is confronted at his book launch in San Remo. People shout out, "You have to go to jail because you are a murderer. Come here if you have the courage. We will not forget you."
Do you know what? This is just another example of how upset and annoyed people are. Okay?
Yeah, it is.
People are the anger. We can go back to what we were talking about earlier. We had that little rant about not staying in one echo chamber, but the point of the matter is, when it comes to all of that, when it comes to the coup, when it comes to the restrictions and all that, people are still very upset. People are still very angry. People have not forgotten, and I am one of them, right? Because they tried to tell me that I was not allowed to hug my grandmother. They tried to tell me I was not allowed to see my aunt. They tried to tell me that my dad was cut off from me because he was in Glasgow. They tried to tell me I couldn't leave my house. And they didn't just do this to me. They did this to all of you as well. And have you ever been in an abusive relationship? Because I have, right? Being the other way around. But she told me I couldn't go out. She told me I couldn't see my friends. She threatened me, right? And that's what this was. And that's what we tried to compare it to. In fact, we got a bunch of women about a year and a half ago who recorded a video for me who did this comparison. What we have had for the last 2.5 years, and not just in this country, but over here in Italy, everywhere in the Western world, was an abusive relationship with our government, and we were the victims.
Indeed, we were.
And people need to not forget. And yes, the anger needs to stay. And these people, unfortunately, they will get away with it. We've covered this before, haven't we, John?
Yes, we have.
Unfortunately, they will get away with it, but we don't have to give them an easy ride along the way.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
And speaking of not giving people an easy ride, It's Blackgary's Gaff of the Week. Now, this is a revisit of his Gaff of the Week, but he's still at it, and it did get quite well covered, didn't it?
Yeah.
So he knows 2 Premier League gay footballers that he hopes will come out during Qatar's World Cup. Why? Does he wish ill upon them? Because Qatar's not known for its tolerance of people of that persuasion. So it's Blackgary's Gaff of the Week. He's a geezer.
Oh, it's Blackgary's Gaff of the Week. Blackgary's Gaff of the Week. Blackgary's Gaff of the Week. Today, he wants people to be murdered in Qatar. Oh, Blackgary. Sorry about that. That just came over me, John.
That's all right, mate. So, Secretary Anthony Blinken.
Oh God, Blinken's an arsehole. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, Secretary Anthony Blinken has directed another drawdown of arms and equipment worth $725 million from Department of Defence inventories to Ukraine. Our 23rd drawdown since August 2021.
Since when?
Since August 2021.
Why were they doing it then?
What, August 2021?
Yeah, but they didn't invade until 2022, John.
Yeah, but it's our 23rd since August 2021.
Yeah, but that's over a year ago, John.
Nothing to say here. Move on. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to together live, are we? Together Declaration Live is what we call GB News these days, right?
Oh, is it right? Yeah. Well, we covered this a few weeks ago. We said there was going to be a big housing crash, so
yep.
They're now reckoning that more than 5 million households will see their annual mortgage payments rise by an average of £5,000 between now and the end of 2024. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
So put that on top of your energy bills and you'll be well and truly rear-ended.
That's it. This country is done, and I put out a little short on the YouTube channel, and I've done a full video which my wife put out on Twitter and I put out on TikTok and things like that. And I told people the brass tacks. I told them the hard truth. And the reason that any of this is happening to you, and I'm directing this directly at the people who sat at home, happily made their banana bread and got their furlough. This is your fault. It's all your fault. It's not Putin. It's not an energy crisis. It's not a war somewhere else. This is you agreeing to shut down the country, shut down the economy, and accept quantitative easing. You have crashed the economy because you did not have the backbone and you did not have the balls to say no.
Indeed. You are correct, sir.
I am correct. And do you know what? They can turn around and, oh, it's not our fault. Is it? Yes, it is. It's your fault. And do you know what? You dragged the rest of us who did say no down with you. And now we are all screwed. We are all screwed because you didn't have the fortitude to say no.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of saying no, do you remember Sweden?
I love Sweden.
Yeah, and remember how they changed over their government as well now?
Yep.
So they've now realigned their new policies and they are launching a crackdown on crime,
good,
gang violence, good, illegal migration,
good,
and have invested in nuclear and tax cuts for low earners.
John, should we crowdfund a house?
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, it sounds like a plan to me.
Sounds like a plan to me. And some of these houses there, 12 grand.
Yeah, you can get cheap houses in Sweden.
Cheap as fuck.
You can.
Yeah, so
right. So
look for the GoFundMe coming soon.
I have to say this chap Anthony Blair has a talent for stating the fucking obvious.
Mm-hmm.
World-ending nuclear war with Putin could wipe out 5 billion people and block out the sun for years. Experts warn. No shit, Sherlock.
Oh, what do you think's going to happen? You know, nuclear bombs start dropping everywhere. Oh, they're dropping on London. They're dropping on Moscow. They're dropping on New York over there. Oh, what? There's one dropped on LA. All the people have survived. What? What?
So, with one hand we praise and with another hand we mock.
Yeah.
Because what have Sweden done as well at the weekend? They blocked a joint investigation with Germany and Denmark into the Nord Stream explosions, and then came out today saying that the Nord Stream pipeline interruptions were a result of large explosions.
Once again, no shit. No shit.
You can't make this up.
No
I
shit.
mean, they really are.
So, I wonder what could have been going on here.
Yeah. I think we know what's going on. I think Biden's got a hand in it. So let's go to Germany.
Sometimes we like Germany.
So we have the Germans shouting at Ukrainian refugees.
I mean, we can't say the N-word. We can't say that on YouTube.
But look, how ironic can we get?
I mean,
the Germans.
The irony is palpable. It is fantastic. It is funny. It is glorious. It is gorgeous. And with that, John, we are at the hour.
Yeah. Well, let's just finish it off because there's only 2 slides left. Okay. So Peter Sweden reports from Sweden.
Mm-hmm. But he actually lives in Norway.
Yeah, but he's reporting on Sweden on this occasion.
Yeah.
He says Sweden is removing public EV charging posts because electricity is too expensive, and with the same hand, making new climate zones in Stockholm with only electric cars allowed.
Oh, I love these people. I do. I love the Swedes. They're mental. They're absolutely mental. But I would love to live in a nice rural Swedish area, a nice wood burner, a nice, 3 or 4 bedroom house, studio in the basement, John. That sounds great. Look for the GoFundMe coming soon.
Yeah, and there you go. There was Elon's assassination list entry.
There we go. I can tell you, if we don't stop this soon, you're going to find us on that damn list.
Probably.
Oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're giving balance to the Force. What? They Jedis, maybe. Maybe.
So there you go. That's it.
That's it, is it? That is our list for today.
Indeed, it is.
I am flabbergasted, John. I am absolutely flabbergasted at the state of our planet right now. The fact that we are able to do this 5 days a week because there is just so much to take the piss out of.
There's so much. I mean, there's stuff in there that I haven't even seen yet that I'm sure has arrived today. That's just ridiculous. I sometimes fear for the future of the human race.
Yeah, well, especially in the Western world, because we really don't have our heads screwed on, do we? We are distracted by shiny things. It's like squirrel.
China is asshole.
Sorry, I missed it. I missed it.
Try it again.
I hit the wrong button.
Try it again. Come on.
Hold on.
You can do it. I believe in you.
I know I can do it.
I believe in you.
Squirrel.
There you go. You did it.
Squirrel followed by a goat scream.
Well, that was certainly something. I also want to apologise to people for us going late today, coming on at 3 o'clock, and it has really affected our view counts.
My fault.
It is entirely John's fault. It is not in any way my fault. It is 100% John. He's done this. He forced us to go live at 3 o'clock, and he's going to own it, aren't you, John?
Yes, absolutely. It's my fault.
Also, I want to make a bit of a correction, because we were corrected in our comment from, I believe, a show from the other day. The Fixed Term Parliament Act was indeed repealed earlier this year.
So it was.
That is a good thing, meaning that the Prime Minister herself can now call an election. We don't need 2/3 of the Parliament to decide that anymore.
Yep.
as always, if we get something wrong on this show, we will come out and we will say it. Hold our hands up, and that was me.
Yep.
I simply assumed it was still in place. I was not aware that it had been repealed, and now that I have found that out, I am sorry. And
every day's a school day.
Every day is indeed a school day.
Except when the schools aren't in.
Except for the schools were in today, which was good.
Well, they're not up here.
No, really?
This is half term.
Oh, it's next week for us. Next week. And they're going to school on actual Halloween, so I'm considering putting costumes on them and sending them in.
Oh, tremendous!
Yeah,
that'll be frowned upon.
I know it's great. You know, I got a load of liquid latex and a load of fake blood. You've seen it, right?
Yes.
I could make I could make some really gory designs on the kids and just send them in.
Yeah.
And then have them sit there all day. The school don't like me already, so
yeah.
You never know.
Anyway.
With
so
that,
with that,
don't forget to support us on patreon.com/Chasing Dissent or kofi.com/Chasing Dissent. We would really appreciate your money. Look for the GoFundMe for the Swedish houses soon.
Yeah. So with that, it's good night from me, and it's goodbye from Ben, and thank you for attending this episode 143 of Chasing Dissent live.
And if you want to watch me play some games, then go to 100 Acre Swamp or this Twitch channel, because it's Twitch is for gaming. So
just go there anyway.
Yeah,
go there anywhere.
Go there anyway, because we're 4 subscribers of 500 over on 100 Acre Swamp. So go and get us to 500. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow at the usual time of this week, 2 p.m. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Got time for this evening, so it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Stop playing with my bust!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy.
You're a what?
A pianist!
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
You have been a delightful audience to talk. Good night. Thank you.
Oh, my bottom hurts. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob.
Oh, I did love that hamster so. I took it into bed with me every night, you know.
Good night, everybody.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to go now. I've been standing here for a very long time. I think the end of the show must have come and gone.
There you go. That's our solar system.
You forgot Uranus.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. You've been very nice to work to.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.